tonight, which is kind of crazy. You can see it right here. This is my phone. I'm trying to do both YouTube and Instagram live session at the same time. It's kind of strange. So, if you're on YouTube, as always, there's a chat room directly below. You can type things in and we can talk. If you're on Instagram, you can just type right into Instagram and we can talk here. I want to see how this works. I think it might turn out to be an absolute mess, but it might turn out to be really fun. So, welcome to the live session. It's just going to be a Q&A session, and I also have a couple of items to talk about, which I think could be fun. I was toying with the idea of trying to do these a little more often because it's really fun to get to talk to people and have an open discussion, a conversation about the stuff. This is really strange because I keep seeing things going here, things going there. Pugs, how you doing, man? Well, we need to go camping soon. I need to work on that video that we shot when we just went camping. We just went winter camping recently, and, well, not recently. It's been a while. What was it, 2 months already? And, of course, it's on the list of videos that they just keep piling up, and I never get to. But we got to fly the drone, and it was awesome, and it had snowed right before we went camping, and it was a really good time. But soon. Hello, Max. Thank you for joining me. So, as I said, if you're joining me on YouTube, on this screen over here, there's a chat room below that you can chat, you can type into it and I can see live what you're saying. And if you're joining me over here, that's Instagram. This is my phone and my laptop's over there. Instagram and YouTube at the same time. I'm confused. Hi, Danielle. Yes, exactly. I thought it'd be really funny to try to have both at the same time because then people from different places can come together and we can have that conversation. Okay, so the two things that I was thinking about talking about in this session, of course, Q&A, so if anything comes up, we can start discussing those things. But for now, the first thing that I experienced this weekend was using the 360 Fly. Wow, it's so small, it's hard to get to see. So here it is on Instagram. Hello from Argentina. Hola Javier, ¿qué tal? So here on YouTube, close-up of the camera. Here on Instagram, close-up of the camera. So what this camera does is it takes a 360 photo and video. You can have either one going. You can control it with your phone as a remote, and that's what I did. I just yesterday posted. I posted a video that I did as a 360 video. It's actually my first 360 video I've ever done. It was very interesting going through the entire process of not only shooting the video, but then going through the footage and then editing it, and then eventually getting it loaded. It was a little bit of definitely a learning curve. So first off, what was really weird about shooting in 3D is thinking that you're always español. Okay, once in a while, de vez en cuando voy a cambiar al español también. La cosa es que a veces es difícil cambiar entre los dos porque empiezo a hablar en uno y después me olvido y después tengo que cambiar but it's really fun doing both. So, gracias por estar conmigo. Okay, so what's really strange about the 360 is realizing that you're always in the shot. A lot of times when you are shooting with a GoPro or with another camera and you're taking pictures, you're not really thinking of, you're thinking about, hello from Texas! Thank you for joining me. So when you're shooting with any of the other cameras, you're not really thinking about, what about German? Sorry, I only do two. It's just Spanish and English. That's already hard enough. I do have some friends that speak German. Maybe I can have them come in and help. But so when you're shooting with other cameras, you're thinking about there's two parts of it. There's the side where you're shooting what you want to shoot, and then there's the side where you're shooting what you think the viewer is going to see. So whether it's a photo or a video, you're thinking of how you're going to put together that story so that when you edit, you have something cohesive. And then, for example, just our day out on the water, and then it starts in the beginning of the day, it ends when you got back. With this, I found, for example, that a lot of the times I had it on, I'd forget that I was in the shot the entire time too. So I'd be trying to capture something in front. Let's say at one point Jonathan was doing some rolling. Everyone was laughing at me looking around with my phone, telling I was doing. Everyone thought the 360 video was so cool. I'm glad you're doing this now. Thank you, Little Jeeps. Actually, I was doing the same thing at work when I was showing the video to people. We had our phones up. For any of you guys that don't know, when you make a 360 video, if you have a mobile device, so it's a tablet or a phone, and you look at the video, as you move around the phone or the tablet or whatever, it'll actually move around. It's as if you're in the camera and you can switch the video around. And that's the equivalent of a virtual reality goggles doing the same thing. But with the phone, can you put the 360 camera on the drone? You can. I cannot. Max just asked if I can put the 360 camera on the drone. There are people that have Phantoms that they've taken off the camera that comes with the Phantom. They've placed this facing down or any other 360 camera, and you get a great shot. But I'm pretty sure that with the Mavic, I would not be able to do that. This is a heavy camera in comparison to the tiny camera that the Mavic has. What's the 360 camera's name? It is the 360 Fly 4K. Here it is, close up. So, what was I saying? I was in the shot. So, for example, I was shooting Jonathan doing a roll in front of me, and then when I was editing, and then I was looking at the edit, I realized that at one point I had moved the camera over. I was looking at a different place, and then it turned out that Jonathan had just done a roll off screen. That doesn't mean it was off of the video, because it was actually in the video, but as a viewer, I find that it's interesting that you might miss the reason I am filming at that moment, or the reason anybody's filming, because maybe the action is happening in this certain place, but then it turns out that the viewer, there's absolutely no way to control them, or at least that I know of, there's no way to control where the viewer is going to be looking. That's the whole point, is the viewer can do whatever they want. So there might be a chance that they're actually watching something and you are shooting something completely different than what is intended. So that's just interesting. I wonder if it means that I need to set up the camera in a way so that the main area, so usually it starts off at, let's say, 0 degrees is where the button is. I believe that's the orientation of where you're kind of starting in that orientation, and then it's up to the viewer to look wherever they want to look. But just something to think about. Now, when it came to editing, it was interesting. There's several stages. I don't remember right now what the video is called. Hello from Qatar. Thank you for joining me. And also, if you are joining me through YouTube, as always, there is a chat room below. You can type into it, and that way we can talk in real time. The question is, Little Jeeps, does this camera record sound? If it does, is the quality sound good? It does record sound. It records sound in stereo. I don't know if it was because we were on the water, or I didn't realize. Hey man, Mike, hello from Brazil. Hello everybody. I didn't know, the sound did not sound amazing to me, but also it's the very first time I use it. So there's a very good chance that that I just don't know what I'm doing and I didn't set it up correctly. So I'm not going to say anything about the quality of the sound just yet. I'm going to do some more testing, and then I'll get back and say if I thought the sound was good or bad. So far, the video really is the only thing that I played with the most. Dash Dog, I found the whole thing was this one shot. There was no moving around it. Am I in the wrong spot or setting for it? Yes. So hello from Poughkeepsie. Yes, you should be able to move it around. I did find out from a couple of my friends that if you're in the wrong browser, or if your browser is just not it's not as new. It's not that you're in the wrong browser. It's a new technology, and not every browser, not every iteration of different browsers are capable of doing 360 videos just yet, especially through YouTube. So I would recommend see if you could use Chile Max. It's from Chile. You're on the YouTube app on your phone. It should work then. That's really strange. It should be. So the way it should look is, it should look as if you're looking at me right now. It looks like a wide angle, just like you're looking right now. But if you take your finger onto the screen and you move it, you should be able to then pan around and see what's behind you. And the tablet, it should work exactly the same way. ¿Qué tal es la autonomía de la batería? So Sebastian asked, what's the deal with the battery? So that's a very good point. Because they made it waterproof, shockproof, and all those things, this particular camera, you cannot change the battery. I'm used to GoPros and other cameras where I always take spares with me. In this one, the battery, it lasted me pretty much all day out of the water. I mean, we weren't out that long, but I did keep turning it off whenever I could, and it lasted a pretty long time. I was conscious of that, and I knew that it was going to run out, so I kept trying to turn it off and not use it whenever I could. Nick Navarro from Virginia Beach. Hello, and thank you for being with me. Yeah, the front is the one side, and the view of the cockpit is the other side of the screen. So something is happening. Maybe the app is outdated, or something is happening and it's not letting you see it, because you should not see the entire screen at once. You should only, it should be like you're seeing me right now, and then it happens, if you move it, you see the rest of it. If you see the entire screen flat, and you pretty much see someone that shows up on this side and then disappears and shows up on the opposite side, then that means either the browser is not updated enough, or the app might not be letting you do it for whatever reason. That we need to keep talking about that, because I want to find out why it's not working for you, Dashdog. Hello, Soul Train Driver. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so I don't remember the names of the editing levels, but this was the process I took. I downloaded the files from the camera onto my computer. I then edited where it was really weird, because you see, I think it says, I don't remember the names. It looks like a sphere. You are pretty much seeing the entire image at once, as if it's a circle. So the stuff up top is big in the center, and then everything is kind of squished and crazy fisheye on the sides. I didn't want to spend the time converting things. The video looks great. Is there a remote to turn the camera on and off? How's it going? Yes, there is. Well, I used my phone, and the phone worked as a remote the entire time. But thank you. Can you tell me what were you watching in? Were you watching in an app, or were you watching on a browser or on your phone? Okay, so it was kind of strange trying to edit, seeing the entire image at once. But like I said, if you convert it from that mode to the other mode, which Dashdog I think is the mode that you are seeing, which is it takes the spherical video and then turns it into this flat, long image instead. It's as if it's taking it apart and then unraveling it, so that everything that goes out of frame on one side appears on the other side. It's a completely seamless video. So that takes a really long time to convert. So what I did is I edited it as a circular video. I then, once I color corrected, edited, added music, did all my stuff, I then brought it into the native application that 360 Fly provides. It's called Director. I did the conversion once after my video was done. That took actually a long time for it to be converted. It turned it into this really long strip with Dashdog. I think that's what you're seeing. And then the third step was YouTube provides an app. You need to download it onto your computer. See Kayak Northeast. I watched it on Google Chrome on my MacBook. Unfortunately, Safari does not support 360 video. Interesting. And were you able to, so you weren't able to see any of it? You weren't able to move things around? You weren't able to see the whole 360 feeling of it? Okay, what was I saying? So YouTube provides this app. You put it on your computer. You run the video through it. It puts all this extra metadata that YouTube needs to understand what kind of video it is. Unless you do that step, when you upload it, it winds up being that long, flat graphic. It doesn't turn it into a 360 video. So that means there were 3 extra steps compared to what I usually do in my videos. I download the files, I edit, I color correct, and then I'm able to export and just upload right to YouTube. Instead, I had to convert everything to a different setting. That actually, it took a long time, but I don't know if it took a long time because of how much processing needs to go between that spherical to that other style, which I'll memorize the names of the style of videos at some point, but right now, it's long words. I'll memorize them. But that takes a long time, or maybe it takes a long time because it's actually 4K, which means tons, not only tons of data, but lots of data in the full 360. Little Jeeps, I just tried to view it on our Roku 360. It's not supported on that yet. Okay, so that's the Roku is connected to your TV, correct? See Kayak Northeast. It wouldn't play in 360. It was playing as the camera would record in a 2D image. Okay, so see Kayak Northeast. When you saw someone exit the screen on one side, did you see them come right in on the other side? Or did you see it as if you were seeing a normal video? It's just very interesting. All right, Little Jeeps, yes. So you same thing. You saw it. It was on your TV. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna try the same thing. When I play it from, I'm gonna try airplaying it from a mobile device. I'm sorry. Anytime I talk to the YouTube crowd, I should be talking here, but the reason I look here is because I have another monitor with the chat room because I don't have enough space to have everything up. Correct. They would come into the other side of the image. Okay, so that's the flat image that I'm talking about. Try it on your phone and see if you can see it in 360 because it's a lot more interesting to not see everything at once, but see it the way it almost looks like fisheye, as if you were shooting with a GoPro and then you just happen to be able to turn it around, which is a lot more interesting. Max, what do you do for a living? I do graphic design and I do video and photography. That's what I do for a living. So the rest of the time, weekends and other times, trips, etc. That's when I get to paddle and hang out with friends on the water. My wife and I go paddling as much as possible. But for work, I do graphic design. I do that kind of stuff, mostly in the marketing area. So that's why I have a lot of gear that has to do with video and photo, etc. Okay, there was another question, and now I forget. But anyway, it was really interesting. I will be using it again next time and see how I can be better about battery life. I will also be taking the Nomad chargers with me, and that way I can charge it mid-trip if I need to, so that'll be good. ¿Dónde pediste hablar español tan fluido? Originalmente soy argentino. Mi familia vino acá a Estados Unidos, a Nueva York, cuando era chiquito. Y entonces perdí muchísimo español, pero con mis papás solamente hablamos en español. Entonces es más o menos una burbuja el español que tenemos. Usamos, qué sé yo, 20 frases nada más. Es todo lo que nos queda, porque somos los únicos que nos hablamos entre nosotros. Hola, loco, desde... Buenísimo. ¿Qué tal, Trapanda? Gracias por estar conmigo. So, if anyone's joining right now, this is kind of really funny that, because you guys here on Instagram don't know that I have my laptop going as well. So I'm doing live right now on Instagram and YouTube. That's why I keep looking off camera the entire time. So, but hi from Australia. Wow, so wait, what time is it for you? Is it 9 in the morning for you? Max, so that's the reason for all the nice footage. Well, I've worked a lot with this, and I've worked with some fun videos, and I've done a lot of really, really boring videos, and a lot of editing, animation, that type of stuff, and so I do this every day, and so shooting and editing is something that I do on a regular basis. JC Carpenter, here in Vermont, don't use it a lot. Don't use a lot of data. Oh, sorry, I wasn't understanding what JC Carpenter was saying. So you're in Vermont. Thank you for joining me. It uses a lot of data. That is correct. It does use data. So if you can, so it's 11 a.m. in Australia. It is 9:30 p.m. here in New York. Brandy, hello from Cedar Falls. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for joining me. Yes, so it does use a lot of data. So if you can, I mean, depending on whatever plan you have, I would say use it on Wi-Fi because that's what it's gonna allow you to see it the best. Cuando vengas a Sudamérica, venite para acá y nos vamos a los fiordos. Buenísimo, estaría buenísimo. Realmente tengo en la lista a ir. Singapore, Tony's. Thank you for joining me. 9:30 a.m. So there you go, exactly 12 hours. So what's happening tomorrow? You need to tell me. That's always a running dumb joke in New Year's Eve that Australia has to tell us what happened already since they're in the future. Trapanda. Sí, me encantaría ir. El problema de ir a Sudamérica es que si voy a Sudamérica tengo que ir a visitar a la familia. Si tengo que ir a visitar a la familia tengo que pasar mucho tiempo porque hace mucho que no los veo. Y si voy a estar visitando y disfrutando de la familia, entonces queda mal si voy y voy a hacer exploraciones o voy a divertirme. Entonces lo que tengo que hacer es ir a visitar a la familia y después también planear un poco de tiempo a ir a explorar. Así que, por supuesto, eso es está en la lista, me encantaría ir porque hay muchas partes de Chile. A Chile nunca fui. Y hay muchísimas partes de Argentina que nunca pude visitar, porque vinimos acá a Estados Unidos cuando era chiquito. Let's see, am I missing any questions? No. Okay. So, recap. It was really fun using it. I took a bunch of pictures as well. I'm going to be loading them onto Facebook just to see how they look and to see what it's like. It was very interesting thinking about being in the shot at all times, even if I was thinking of shooting something else that was on screen. It was very interesting to edit it. I'm not used to it, but I'm sure it'll become a little easier as time goes by. But I'll keep talking about it as I continue using it, as I continue learning. I want to find out how to be able to write things into the video so that it gets curved correctly, and that way I can maybe say instructions like, look over here, there's a seal, or look to the left, here's where the action's happening right now. Don't, because once again, as a viewer, you're going to look wherever you want, not wherever I'm pointing the camera to. So that's interesting. All right, so the other part of what I was going to talk about tonight is I finally got to test out the NRS Storm Hood. It's a neoprene hood that you can use when the water's cold, and you can go. You're having an ADD fever dream right now. Yes, it is very hard to keep up with all this stuff, and it is so much fun. Un abrazo, maestro, me retiro, saludos. Gracias igualmente, nos hablamos pronto. Oh, wait, so before I talk about the hood and actually Sleepy Goat, I need to talk to you about the hood because I am sad to say that I've actually rolled with it so little since I got the new hood. And I feel bad because it was supposed to be my job to test this out. So, but I finally did get to roll a bunch with it, and it was superb. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. I have a question. Hello from Morocco. Thank you for joining. Dash Dog. I did find out on the bid data and the bid data when it comes to photos and when it comes to video. So I'll keep the rant as short as possible because it was very interesting. So when you shoot photos, most photo, and please, if I'm wrong, just leave a comment. Tell me about it. Tell me more about it because I'm just learning about it. I'm gonna try to recite what I learned and what I can remember. And if I'm wrong, that's okay. I'll correct it later in a comment. But as far as I understand, JPEGs are mostly around 8 bits. That means that you're getting for every pixel, you're getting a certain amount of colors, a certain amount of you're getting a certain amount of colors, and that's what's happening is it's getting compressed, and that's all really you're using. When you're shooting photos in RAW, you wind up having you use a higher bit rate so that you're storing a lot more information for every pixel. And that's why when you shoot in RAW, you are able to then go in and get so much of that information that otherwise you would lose. If you shoot in JPEG, the camera decides what information it's keeping, it compresses it, and you get a small file. When you shoot in RAW, for example, one of the cameras, when I shoot in a JPEG, I get around 60 megabyte files. When I shoot in RAW, I get around 60 megabytes for one photo. And so, but then, for example, in the Canyon, they weren't this big. They were smaller because it was the A6300 by Sony. In the Canyon, I was able to shoot when I knew a lot of stuff was going to be dark and then pull all that information out later because it was higher bit depth and I got all that extra information. Now, video almost always uses 8-bit. It doesn't use anything extra unless you're shooting very, very high-grade professional video cameras, in which case I believe they go up to 10 and 12 for that extra bit of information. I don't think for us normal users that comes into play at all. So Dashdog, I believe that almost all of these video cameras, I don't know this one for sure, I need to check out, but most video cameras we use in the consumer level will be 8-bit, and that won't make that much of a difference. What matters is all the other numbers. So for example, how many megapixels the sensor has, how big the sensor is, if you're really cropping that sensor or not when you're using different types of lenses. Because for example, lenses on DSLRs are made a certain way. I don't have any here, but let's say you have a 50 millimeter lens. That's 50 millimeters if you have a full frame camera. That's a full sensor. But if you're putting that lens on a cropped sensor of a DSLR, it winds up being a lot. You add to that focal length. So instead of 50 millimeters, it might turn out. I don't remember the math exactly right now, but it's between 70 and 80. I think it would be instead of that 50 because of that crop amount. So all those other numbers are important when it comes to video cameras, but bit depth isn't as important because on our level of videos, almost all of them are going to be 8-bit. Dashdog, does that answer what we were talking about the other day? There were a couple of other questions. Pura vida. Does the hood go under the neck seal of the CAG or over it? You know, I actually, on this one, I had it over. That's one of the things that I was going to say that I've been using an O'Neill hood for a while. Great, thank you. Okay, so I don't know if I completely butchered that explanation on bit, but it matters a little bit more for photography than it does for video. For video, not as important. Okay, I have an O'Neill's hood that I've been using for a while, and the back of it just isn't as long. And I didn't put it under on this time, and I didn't feel absolutely anything go in on the bottom. everything just went right off. But I just did a couple of rolls in cold water. It wasn't extensive. We just did a couple. So I would say that if you want to put it under that extra hood, not the gasket, let's say in a dry suit, I would put it if it fits. I would put it between the neoprene hood that comes on the dry suit and between that and the gasket. So, sorry, this is my phone for those that are joining now. Instagram Live is happening in here. YouTube Live is happening over there. So I'm just looking through the questions. Sebastián, ¿por qué te decidiste a comprar esa cámara y no otra como Samsung? Ok, lo que hice es cuando decidí hacer esto, le mandé mensajes a varias compañías a ver si alguien tenía interés en trabajar conmigo. Y 360 Fly dijo que sí, tenía interés en trabajar conmigo, entonces empecé a trabajar con ellos y por eso estoy probando esta primera. Y también me interesó de que sí, se pierde la parte de abajo porque solamente tiene un lente, pero al mismo tiempo me gusta que con las otras que tienen dos, el lugar en donde se unen los dos lentes, muchas veces la calidad no es tan buena. Lo que me gustó de esta, especialmente para kayak, es que si la tenemos apoyada, la parte de abajo casi siempre va a ser solamente el kayak o el agua, no hace falta realmente verlo. Pero se puede ver todo alrededor y en todos lados se ve 10 puntos. Eso fue una de las razones que me gustó. Which mitts or gloves do I use? Oh, actually, there we go. Greg C. Sleepy Goat is saying it's a sign to sit over the gasket but under the overcuff. Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. That exactly. It's over the gasket, over the latex gasket, but under the, what do you call it? But under the overcuff. So the overcuff, I think, is that neoprene cuff that goes on top. And Sleepy Goat, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the main reasons one of the reasons it's also there is to protect the latex gasket from the UV, because the neoprene can take the UV, but the latex can't as much and will deteriorate over time if it's exposed to the sun, as well as the elements in general, because, for example, what we use, sunscreen will also help deteriorate in time those latex gaskets. Translate. Yes, okay, so what I was saying, the question was why did I choose to go with the 360 Fly camera versus any of the other ones that are out there. And when I thought about trying this out, I reached out to a couple of different companies. 360 Fly liked my videos, and they thought it would be a good fit for us to work together. So then I entered their ambassador program, and that's part of why I'm doing this, and I'm getting to test this out. And so far, I actually really like that 360 video. I know it's not perfect, but I think it's going to be a really interesting medium to learn. And I think when we do cool trips and we go to really cool destinations, it'll be very interesting to have a video, a normal video that I like editing and doing all the normal things I like doing, drone shots, etc. And then also having an immersive version to go along with it will be very interesting, so that if people, they can see what I wanted them to see, but then if they want to feel like they sat in the kayak with us as we did our adventure, either we're surfing or we're somewhere cool, that's what the 360 camera is going to do. I'm behind on a couple of questions. Max, do you suggest a wetsuit or a dry suit, South Pacific Ocean in Chile? Personally think dry suits are too expensive. So that's a really good question. It comes up all the time. Dry suits are very expensive, but they're definitely worth it. Some are cheaper than others. You can find them during wholesale. You can find them sometimes during sales. You can find them during closeout sales. The very first one I found was actually too big for me. It was a closeout, and I got it for I think like half price. But it was amazing because I used it so much longer. I used it for most of the fall. I used it for most of the spring and all of the winter. And that was one single piece, rather than having different levels of neoprene. and having different wetsuits for different times. And with the dry suit, it got to a point when I was taking lessons in South Carolina, I get chilly very quickly. The water had already reached, I think, 70 degrees, but I knew we were going to be swimming a lot. So I just wore bathing suit and rash guard and the dry suit, and that kept me so much warmer than if I had just been wet in the water all day long. So to me, it was an expense that it was worth it at the time because of how many other things I didn't need to buy because I bought the dry suit. And what's nice too is if you have clothing that you have for camping, for hiking, whatever, all that thermal clothing that is sweat wicking, or if you have anything like that, you can use all of those as base layers as long as they're not cotton. They need to be synthetic materials, they need to be wool or different other materials. That you can, so you can reuse things that you might already have. And because of camping, I already had a lot of those layers. So that's why I chose the dry suit as well. JC Carpenter asked, seems like a very warm hood. I just returned a medium because it was too tight. I have a large coming. How did you find sizing? Actually, that's the other thing is the O'Neill, I got a medium as well, and it was the wrong size for me. It was too tight. This NRS is just perfect for me. I'm on the smaller size, and it fit really well. That's one of the problems I was having with the other hood was that it came up here the entire time, and after a while it was making my jaw hurt. And the other thing it was doing is it was making it very hard to talk because it was so tight on me. I look so ridiculous. This is amazing. Okay, hold on. I'm going to catch up on Instagram. I'm sorry. I've been totally neglecting you guys. Translate. I did. Winter is coming to Australia, so it could be useful to have. You're right. It used to be for me growing up in Argentina. It's so weird for the different times of the year here in the U.S. being the exact opposite, but now I'm used to this. So yes. Yep, gasket protection. Indeed, and tucking the hood between the two helps prevent flushing. Exactly. And that's the same thing as your Spanish is, so Pico's saying that his Spanish is junk. Thank you for translating. Yes. What's really nice about having it go in between the two layers is you have less of a chance of the stuff of water getting in. It's the same idea of having having your suit, skirt, and then a tunnel going on top of the skirt. More of a chance that you're going to keep all of that water out. Okay, there's another question. What is your feeling of someone using 2.5 millimeter shorty wetsuit now in New Jersey as a just in case? I don't think that's enough, Corbin. We were 2.5 millimeter. You know, I think if you're going to be right by the shore, and I really mean right by the shore, and you're going to be paddling with a group, and you know how to either roll or self-recover very quickly, I think you could get away with having a 2.5 millimeter shorty wetsuit. I would think it's not enough because of just how easily things can go south, how unpredictable strong winds can develop, and if you're left just floating around in a thin... video's dropping out. Oh no! All right, Grexley, thank you so much for joining me. We will talk soon. So, for example, when we went paddling this last weekend, when the sun was shining, I'd say the temperature was in the 50s. It felt really nice. The water was 40 or 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, all of it's in Fahrenheit. And I was thinking, definitely dry suit, and then I was going to wear a rash guard and then a very, very thin fleece because 40-degree water is cold. And if you're going to be floating around, if something really goes wrong, I wanted to have something. I had long johns, I had wool socks, but it was just too hot. Just loading and unloading the kayaks, I started sweating. So I took the risk of going with just a very thin top layer and then the dry suit on top. Yes, Dash Dog is saying always err on the side of caution. I think that's the right way to see it. I went with a strong group. There were 9 of us. All of us have roles. All of us have re-entries. We were going to be together as a big group. We weren't going far, and conditions were supposed to be on our side the entire time. I still had a dry suit, and we were in a situation where we felt okay being a little bit more underdressed than we should be if we were going to be floating around. So I would have been okay floating around for a little bit and then being rescued and getting in my kayak. If something really went bad and I had gotten swept away from the group and I had to float around, I was not wearing enough clothing to be in 40-degree water. To be floating around in 40-degree water, I needed several more layers on top. Favorite brand style of boat. So out of everything I've tried, what fits me the best is Rockpool right now, and I really like the model that I have right now. I tried a lot of different ones. I am tall. I'm very skinny, and so, for example, I really liked the P&H Cetus. I really liked. I can't remember what else did I try. I tried a Neki. I can't remember which one it was. I also tried the Valley Avocet. There were a couple of really great rough water kayaks that I tried, and in all of them, I wanted the low volume version, and my legs were too long or my knees didn't fit. And then when I tried the Rockpool, since it doesn't have an ashtray in the front, I could fit my knees. So I like low volume British style, so not super low volume like a Rebel or something like that. That's like real low volume, closer to. Thanks. Favorite paddling spot? Well, I don't know if it's a favorite paddling spot. We go paddling on the Long Island Sound all the time, so maybe it's become a favorite paddling spot just because it's close and easy to access. We are on the water in 15 minutes from where we live. So that's really, whatever you have closest could be your favorite. But Split Rock Reservoir in New Jersey is a stunning destination. It's beautiful. It's super, super nice to paddle there. We also like another one that I can't remember right now. Round Valley, I think it's called. There's 2 spots that are absolutely beautiful. Oh, and actually, Sebago Lake in New York is also really, really nice. It's one of the lakes on the 7 Lake Drive. Those are really, really pretty. Do I paddle Pacific Northwest at all? Well, I'm in New York on the East Coast, so I've never actually paddled. I've been to the Pacific Northwest before, but never in a kayak, and I am changing that. My wife and I are going to Styx in June, and we will finally be in, but we're not going to be out on the ocean. We're going to be learning traditional style kayaking stuff. So, but at least we'll be in the Pacific Northwest. But my goal, one of the things on my list, is to make it to one of the events, do some surf, take some surf lessons out in the Pacific Northwest, and then also take some lessons in fast-moving water, which you guys have some really great spots, and I've only seen in video. I've never been, so it's on the list to get there. Instagram didn't alert me when you were going live. Oh no, I'm sorry, I don't know how to make the alert go on. Round Valley and Spruce are my go-to spots. Round Valley is awesome. Spruce Run, that's the other place that I was thinking about. They're so great. And Split Rock, make your way to Split Rock. It's really pretty. It's a really, really nice place to paddle. I'm from Seattle previously. I know, and you're in Ecuador now, right, Dash Dog? I feel like you're in Ecuador. Wow, we are on 45 minutes. Okay, call Washington Paddle Club. They will hook me up. I will. And the thing is, the more I do these things and I talk to people and I become friends with them, the more places that I need to add to the list, the more places I want to go to, because it's absolutely amazing to be connected with so many people that paddle in all these amazing places, and everyone is so welcoming. My biggest example is going down to Mexico and paddling with Daniel. I had such an amazing time. I met a great group of paddlers, and it was funny. That's one of the main things we were talking about. We were paddling, we were camping, and sitting around the fire. I had just met them one day before, and sitting around the fire felt like sitting around the fire back home with some of my closest friends. I think we all share something. There's a reason we all go out into nature. We all go out into the water. And it's funny, you can paddle with anybody that you meet, and I'll bet you, in most cases, you'll get along as if you had paddled together, always. Yep, Seattle, Washington. Oh, well, I do wanna go paddle on the Washington coast. It's definitely on the list. Wait, I'm missing something else. Um, what did I miss? No, I think I got everything. All right. So, if you're joining me for the first time now, it's getting close to the end. We got to talk about some really fun stuff. The 360 camera, my learnings so far. That was just my very first video. Have you ever paddled the Great Lakes? I have not, and that's also on the list. I really want to go to Lake Superior, and if I'm not mistaken, um, is it colored rocks, pictured rocks? I can't remember what it's called, but it looks absolutely amazing. And is it pictured rocks? That spot where all of the drippings make the rocks have completely different colors. I'm pretty sure that's Lake Superior, and it just looks incredible. Um, and I believe Apostle Islands, right? It's also in one of the Great Lakes. That's also those are the two spots that are on the list for me that I haven't gotten to yet, but definitely will someday. So as a wrap up, 360 camera, first impressions. I'm going to continue shooting with it. And what kayaker should we follow on Instagram? There's so many. Okay, so TF Bergen. If you want to see absolutely fascinating photos from Norway, to her, I always post her stuff as well. She takes the most fun stuff out on the water. Sea Kayak Mexico, of course. He surfs all the time. Daniel just he takes he does trips, overnighters all over the place. Christopher, then he is a guide and an instructor, like a really high top level instructor, and he leads tours in some of the most beautiful places in Norway as well. And he's a fabulous photographer. Actually, you will see in all of that group of paddlers, all the guys and gals from Norway, he has taken so many of their photos. It's really funny that they keep posting photos from their meetups because they all know each other. Lars, all of them, they all hang out together on a regular basis. And then it turns out Christopher is actually taking so many of the photos they're posting because they were all hanging out together. And lately what they've been doing is they've been taking pictures of each other taking pictures. So I told them that in the next one, I'll do a screenshot to add one more layer of that. Let's see, who else? There's so many great paddlers all over the place. Sea Kayak Northeast, who we still have to meet. Okay, I know I'm missing tons of people. Out I Go. I think she's on the Pacific Pacific Northwest. No, she's in California. There's Kayak to the Sea. Kayak to the Sea is Tim Galloway. He is a superb mentor with anything that has to do with traditional paddling. He's helped me so much in getting my reverse sweep working, as well as making my my storm roll better. And then in person, he actually... Could I post usernames somewhere of Instagram accounts? You know what I'll do? I'll post tomorrow I'll do a post tomorrow, and what I'll do is I'll post everybody's name, and I'll just make it really long, and it's up to you guys to just follow everybody you want. I'll try to include as many people as I can. Right now, I follow something like 800 people. A lot of them are kayakers, some are photographers, some are videographers. Just Kayak Wendy. See, it's so hard to remember everybody. Kayak Wendy. Her photos are incredible. She has done so many interesting trips, and I'm working with her. Well, not working with her now. I'm hoping to do at some point an account takeover by her, so that she can tell us about one of her trips, and then just do one photo a day and tell us about each one. Where to Willie, Eric Lilstrom. I'll post a bunch of people tomorrow that great kayakers. The only thing is I wish I follow a bunch of them, but I wish I knew more whitewater kayakers as well, because some of the photos they post are incredible, and I post very different stuff from that, but that doesn't mean I don't respect and enjoy seeing all. One of my favorites is Rafa Ortiz from Mexico. His photos, especially going over waterfalls, are incredible and terrifying. I don't think I could ever do that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is almost an hour that we went. I was thinking today we'll keep it down to about 15 minutes to a half hour at most, but it's so much fun having a conversation with everybody. Little Jeeps, thanks for the live show and responding to all the questions. Of course, this is so much fun. I have so much fun actually talking, because I look at all the photos and that you guys post, and I love interacting with everybody, but having the chance to actually discuss things is really nice too. I hope that the Instagram and YouTube thing at the same time worked, that I was able to pay attention to both and answer questions. My kayak life. Luke, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for... crap, I missed it. I got here late. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Couple more minutes, and then we'll call it a night. But what I'm thinking maybe of doing this weekly, because what's really nice... So making the videos takes a really long time. And I don't want to stop doing that. I have a list right now of about 10 videos that I'm supposed to be editing and some other projects. And I want to continue doing those. But sometimes it might take me a week or two to finish editing one, because I'm doing a half hour here, 45 minutes there, 15 minutes somewhere, just picking shots. And what I like about doing a live one is that we can chat about stuff, and sometimes I can answer some of those questions that people might be able to go to back later. And it might be fun to just do that, so it breaks up the time, and I can I hope that one video a week is a good pace, because that's what I'm trying to do when I edit the videos. If I could do 2 a week, because I'm doing short videos, even better. But this could be somewhere in the middle, and I'm thinking maybe early in the week I can do a quick evening one. We can hang out, talk, whatever, have a Q&A. A trip from, oh man, what was this channel? It has to do with sailing. I'll put his info below. Trip, you burned your dinner. I'm sorry, Dash Dog. Oh, that's terrible. He had me on his show, and we talked for a while, and it wound up being a 2-hour session. He had so many people chime in with questions, and then they were asking me questions too, and it was just like a free-for-all of a bunch of kayakers discussing different things, and it was really interesting. And so I'm talking to a couple of people that I would love to have on, because they are very experienced and they've done some really crazy trips, and I would love to have some of their input, stuff that I can't. Would you set a time for each week? Sailing as such. Yes, Little Jeeps. That's it. Sailing as such. Trip. If you guys want to see a really great YouTube kayaking channel that has to do with camping as well, and he does a lot of fishing too. Sailing as such is his channel. Trip is awesome, super fun to watch, and he goes out camping and kayaking all the time, and he's a blast. I had such a great time talking with him. And recently, the coolest thing he's done is he actually had a meetup through his channel. So people that follow him and wanted to camp with him, they all went camping together. And I think they streamed it. I haven't seen it yet, but I think they streamed live from the campsite, which is hilarious. So, Chris, would you set a time each week? Yes, I'm thinking of doing that, but what I'm going to do is maybe ask people to see what works for them. I'm thinking maybe Mondays at 9 o'clock or Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, a time where people are usually home if you happen to be in Eastern Standard Time. Or, as we found out, it's early morning in some other parts of the world. I feel bad because Europe, where I have a lot of buddies, it's 6 hours ahead, 5 to 6 hours ahead, and right now it's really late for them. But the problem I have is I have an almost 2-year-old, so most of the stuff I get to do has to be late at night because it has to be after he goes to sleep. I can't really do it when he's up. Sundays at 9. That might be. Sundays at 9 could work. Oh, actually, it might not work. Because I'm from Argentina, every weekend I go visit my parents, a lot of times with the babies, and most of the time Sundays we wind up getting home late. I will work on that. I will come up with a time. I will try to make it so that as many of us have that time free, and maybe we can start chatting on a regular basis. And because I love answering questions, but I also love having other people answer questions that are tuned in. That's one of the things that I continue rambling about. That, for example, there's been questions that have been asked to me about something about a role, and then I get to answer, and then at the same time I ask other people, like for example Tim Galloway, and then he'll help me get better, and then I'm helping someone that knows a little less get a little better too. And I love that kind of pay it forward. I love that chain thing where everybody learns something along the way. Chris, you have a great channel. Hope it grows huge. I don't know about huge, but it's been wonderful how much it has grown, and thank you so much for being with me and asking all the great questions and answering all the great questions for all the things that I can't answer as well. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, YouTube. This was a ton of fun. 360 fly camera, NRS hood, which was awesome to roll in, and it was super comfortable versus my older hood. And we will chat again soon. Okay, how do I stop this? I probably need to hit end, and I'm going to start streaming. Thanks, guys. See you next time.